Good morning and welcome to Wednesday morning, August the 4th this morning. And we are continuing to listen to Paul's advice to both Titus and Timothy, young pastors that he's been mentoring, written them these letters. And he shared with them what the expectations of a pastor are, someone in the clergy, as we say. He's going to use a kind of a technical term here for the title of today's. I had to look it up, get the right pronunciation. I've never heard it used before. But anyway, the expectations of pastors, leaders in the church, as well as the church in general. And so again, there's good guidelines for all here in this week's devotions. Again, it's August the 4th. It's Wednesday. And the title of today's message is Qualifications for the Presbyterate. There you go. If you know the word presbytery, you know that this has to do with those in the clergy, of those in the pastorate, whatever word you want to use. The suggested reading is Titus chapter 1, verses 1 through 11. And the lead-in is from that passage, verse 5, Titus 1:5. The reason I left you in Crete was that you might appoint elders in every town, as I directed you. Elder being another name for the pastoral ministry. That's actually the word used in our denomination for the lead pastor, or however you want to put it. He receives an elder's ordination to the pastor. We used to have two steps, deacon and then elder, and now that's the deacon one's been dropped. But that's a lot you probably did not need to know, right? So here you go. Paul explains that he had left Titus in Crete because certain matters had been unfinished, chief among them being the selection and ordination of pastors or presbyter bishops in every town. The apostle goes on to indicate the essential qualifications that candidates must have. The most striking of these that they must be blameless, verses 6 and 7. Well, I guess that drops a lot of us out. This cannot mean unblemished, or no children of Adam could ever be eligible. Well, thank you. The Greek word means not without blemish, but without blame. That is, with an unstained reputation. Since the pastorate is a public office, candidates must have a public record. Hence, the need for references or testimonials. Paul goes on to specify three spheres in which candidates for the presbyterate would need to have an untarnished reputation. Firstly, elders must be blameless in their home life, verse 6. Reference is made both to their spouse and to their children. The husband of but one wife, verse 6, has been variously interpreted, but it is perhaps best understood broadly as a man of unquestioned sexual morality. As for the children, they must be believers and well-behaved. The logic is clear that candidates cannot care for God's family if they fail to care for their own. Secondly, elders must be blameless in their character and conduct, verses 7 and 8. Paul uses 11 terms, 5 negative, for example, not overbearing, not quick-tempered, and 6 positive, for example, hospitable, upright, and devout. The leading thought throughout is that the elder must be a master of himself, verse 8 in the Revised Standard Version, or self-controlled. Thus, candidates must give visible evidence in their behavior that they have been regenerated by the Holy Spirit, that their new birth has led to a new life, and that the ninefold fruit of the Spirit, whose ninth fruit is self-control, has at least begun to ripen in their lives. Thirdly, elders must be blameless in their doctrinal orthodoxy, their right beliefs. Verse 9. They must hold firmly to the trustworthy message as it has been taught, or literally, according to the apostles' teaching. For only then will they be able to exercise their two complementary ministries, namely, to teach the truth and to refute those who oppose it. Indeed, Paul reveals his strategy. It is that when false teachers abound, verses 10 through 16, we must multiply the number of true teachers. And that would also be the responsibility of the overseer, the pastor, the presbyter, to train others to know the right truths so that they can defend themselves. It's a warning Paul gives the Ephesian elders in Acts chapter 20, that after he leaves, he knows that there are going to be those from among their own flock, from among their own congregation, who will rise teaching false things, trying to lead some of those disciples away. And so it becomes the obligation of the congregation to make sure the man or woman that they've asked to lead them as pastor, as shepherd, preacher, teacher, has these qualifications. And it becomes the responsibility of that person to make sure that the people in their flock know these truths, know these realities that will protect them from false teaching and false teachers. Oh, the church is a village, and it takes a village to be a healthy church. It takes all of us together working to accomplish what God has called us to, being faithful to it and being diligent to make sure that we know the truth that sets people free, the gospel truth. Let's be that kind of people together in whatever fellowship you attend, whether it's at JCPM or whether you're watching this and you attend some other church. Make sure that your life is a living example of this kind of truth. Blessings to you today.